Does salvation also bring liberation? Does salvation also bring liberation? St. John 3:16, for God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. John 8:36, therefore, if the Son set you free, you shall be free indeed. Romans 11:32, for God has imprisoned them all in disobedience, so that he might be merciful to all. May God bless the reading of that word. You may be seated. Who will save us and who will liberate us? That's the true reality. I talked about our children and our youth. I talked about our young adults. I talked about our senior citizen as well as our adults. I'm taking this moment to walk through this fourth issue pertaining to the question, who will save us and liberate us? Our families. And then I'll go to communities, and when I deal with communities, businesses, educational system, our judicial system. And then I'll go to who will save our churches. And then last but not least, who will save our thinking. And so I've been on the family. I dealt with Abraham and his ability to sacrifice his only begotten Son through faith. And I dealt with that because sacrificing is a part of family life. And then I dealt with the second tier of that. It was on Mother's Day. I dealt with Sarah. 3 conversations. She had one with Abraham. We do not know if she told Abraham if Abraham told her what he was going to do. She had to have an internal conversation because no mother wants their child to die. And especially when you were 90, when you had your child. And then the third conversation was with her son, Isaac. And he told her, I had the greatest time with my father. It was a Jehovah experience. And then lastly, I sought to break the family down into 4 areas so that we can see from the essence of creation how the family was developed. I talked first about a family developed out of creation. A family developed out of creation. And then I dealt with a family developed out of a crisis, The family developed out of creation was Adam and Eve. And it went through just the basic spectrum of what happens when a man finds his mate and they get married and they have a family. And then a family developed out of crises was the world had become so engulfed with sin that God had to bring a destruction. 40 days and 40 nights it rained and flooded everything, and only 8 persons on the ark were saved. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and his 3 daughter-in-laws. And it gave us a perspective of how the family had shifted from the husband and the wife, Adam and Eve, to their children. And now it has shifted to husband and wife and children and in-laws. That said, sometimes in-laws can become outlaws. And so I dealt with that. And the 2 other portions that I dealt with, I would deal with those today. The third family, it was a family developed out of commitment. It's in Genesis chapter 15, verse 5, Genesis 17, verse 3 through 8. This is where God makes a promise to Abraham. He makes a promise to a man and tell him that his descendants shall be like the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. He speaks to Abraham and he tells him, Adam first, Noah second, Abraham third. All distinctive and very unique families. A family out of creation, a family out of crises, and now a family out of a commitment that God is making to Abraham. Functioning, each of them in a different kind of way, but each of them responsible for productivity, producing, increasing the number of persons in this world, but yet not doing what the last segment of it is. The number 4 is a family developed out of cultural and cosmic connections. When the world discovers that we are all kinfolks, there may be some imperative changes that may take place. Because again, all we have in life is God and family. You say what you want to say. I got a lot of friends and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you think you do. But when it all boils down to life as a whole, all we have is God and family. And so Abraham gets a commitment. He says to God, I will believe what you said, that my descendants will multiply this entire world. It is the same intentions that God gave Adam and Eve: be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. It's the same that he gave to Noah: be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, because the flood killed everybody. Before Adam, there was nobody. And now Abraham is given the charge to replenish the earth based on a commitment. Each of these stages of the family can be seen even within the essence of the last one, where we deal with the family developing out of cultural and cosmic connections. Because every family on this earth now bears a mark, either from creation, from a crisis, from a commitment, or from a cultural or cosmic connection. Somehow, some way, it's interwoven, it's ingrained into every family that is on this earth now. Unfortunately, many times we cannot detect where the development of our family came from, because each of them had a distinctive and uniqueness portion. But here's the pivoting key. God gives him a commandment. An old man at his age, he gives him a promise. Unlike Adam, Adam was created to see all of his descendants, because death was not in the picture. So that meant that if Adam and Eve had not sinned, then they would still be here right now. They would be able to see grands to the grands. Can you imagine somebody that's 5 years old coming up to a man that's probably over 4,000 years old and have to spend at least 10 minutes saying all the grands? Hey, grand, to the 100, Paul. Amazing. Noah knew he was going to die, so he would not see his descendants. This 100-year-old man believed God, but he knew he would not see his descendants. But yet he believed God. And the book of Romans says that Abraham's faith was imputed unto him as righteousness. A righteous man recognizing that he would be the father of more people than he can count, but more people after him than before him. But he would not be able to see them with his naked eye. How many families are built on faith? That's what Abraham's family was built on. It was built on faith. Faith built his family. How many families do you know have faith? How many families do you know trust God? How many families you know, they don't panic, they don't get upset, they don't fall out, but they fall down on their knees and they follow faith. That was it about Abraham. Adam probably didn't. Noah probably didn't. Abraham probably didn't see what's coming now. Adam had his own perspective of family. Noah did. Abraham did. But I wonder if any of them expected to see family like it is now. Cultural and cosmic connections. I want to make a statement. I want you to hear this statement. This statement carries a lot of profundity within it. Listen. The reason why so many families are struggling right now is because sin has reconstructed the family, and the results of it is not a duplication of what God intended. I think I need to say that again. The reason why so many families are struggling right now is because of sin. And sin has reconstructed the family, and the results is not a duplication of what God intended. This whole thing about new families, and I'm not critical, I'm not condemning, but I want the conclusion to be fully understood. The family is not what God intended for it to be. Many families bear the resemblance, and I've come to somewhat of an urgent conclusion. The house that the family is living in is burning. The question is, can we save the house? Can we save the house? Because, Minister Gwen, if we cannot save the house, then we will have to go through the rubbish to find out what survived. Teach, Hosea. When a house burns down, sometimes you can find stuff that are under the ashes that you can keep. But sometimes when the house burns down, it's not what you find you have to live with, it's the rubbish. And some families smell like smoke. You can tell it when you get around them. Because some families cannot distinguish the difference between circumstance and condition. Circumstance is when the family look like they're getting together and they're getting along, they're loving each other out in public. But when you get home, he's living upstairs, she living downstairs. That's a condition. What you saw was a circumstance, but the condition was a reality. Do I have hope for the family? Yes, I do. Do I know God can work us through this? Yes, he can. Am I hopeful? Yes, I am. There has to be a clear understanding that this may help each of us. We must seek to maintain the integrity as best as we can while we are going through this cultural and cosmic connection. And so that means something. That means something very, very dear and near. We all have to come to three basic conclusions. Number one, that every family got some of the same stuff going on. Every family. You know, there are families who think that they're elite and think that they're exempt from stuff. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. No. Every family got stuff going on. Every family. I don't care how high you jump when you shout. You got something going on. I don't care how religious your terminology is. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Something going on. That's the first thing. The second thing that we must realize is this, is that we must spend time working on ourselves in order for the family to be better than trying to work on other family members and forgetting ourselves. Help me teach this. Because so often what happens in the family, one person can see everybody's fault but their own. And you find them criticizing every family member, but they don't criticize themselves. And so we have to be able to work on ourselves. And the third thing is that we're going to have to accept some realities. Ain't no living in no fantasy world, y'all. The family is struggling. And we must understand that the family is struggling. The cultural differences that has come up within the recent essence of laws and different things of that particular nature, none of us, from a religious standpoint of view, should neglect or condemn another person's civil right when it comes to the laws of the land. Many laws of the land must be just like other laws of the land. Some laws of the land commands us to do this. But I see some things maybe from a different perspective. And maybe somebody may say, well, Pastor, your theology is a little bit off. No, it's not off because it ain't got no switch. So it's on. If there is nothing new under the sun, then what's going on now was going on then. I hope somebody heard what I just said. There's nothing new going on right now that has not already been. Carlinda Rogers, member of my family, used to make this statement: if it's new, it ain't true. And if it's true, it ain't new. Something very, very simple. We got to stop getting all bent out of shape. Did y'all hear what I just said? We've got to stop getting all bent out of shape. When something or somebody goes against the grain of what we think should be. Y'all still with me, right? Because brothers and sisters, This is real dear and near to my heart, y'all. Families must stop rejecting loved ones based on their preferences. Did y'all hear what I just said? Now listen. All of us know right from wrong. And just because family members veer from our legacy and our heritage, it does not mean that we need to exclude them from the family. But we need to be able to be real because our family has variables. They have variables. We got to stop this stuff, y'all. We got to stop this stuff. Preach, Hosea. Teach, Hosea. Talk, Hosea. We got to stop this. We got to stop excluding family members because of preferences. I can still love my family, even if I might not like what my family is doing. I wish I had one person to stand on that principle. We need to stop rejecting people in our family because they don't believe what we believe. Now, I will give you the only Deacon Hampton rational statement that would allow you to stand within your rights if you reject a family member based on their preference. And here it is. If you picked out the family you wanted to be born in, go and do it. Teach Hosea Hines. Now, if you made the choice of what family you were to be born in, then you got every right to go and do what you're going to do. But if you was like me, when I came to myself, Sojourner, I was a Hines. Matter of fact, they had to tell me what my name was. Can I get some real people in this house? When I was born, Sister Dixon, I didn't choose where I was going to be born at. I didn't choose where I was going to live. And when I was growing up, I didn't choose what I was going to eat because my mama fixed the food for me. I wish I had some old school folks in here. I didn't even make a choice to go to church. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. They said, get up. They didn't say, do you want to go to church, Anthony? They said, we going to church. They didn't ask me, do I want to go to school? They told me, So we've got to make means. Now, I know since we're on Facebook and Instagram, I'm making some people mad, but I'm glad. Because why leave your child out there by themselves? Why leave your cousins, your aunts, and your uncles out there by themselves? They're still family. They're still family. And I want to take a powerful punch through this cosmic and through this cultural connection. I want you to hear me very well. I want you to absorb what I'm getting ready to say, because it is the truth. If there's nothing new under the sun, then the family Jesus grew up in has some of the same stuff going on right now. Oh, Lord, help me to teach this sermon. Jesus Christ grew up in a house that was blended. Jesus Christ grew up in an era and a culture within the Greco-Roman Empire where all of the woes going on in society was going on then also. So there could have been, should have been, would have been, if we were growing up at that era, the same kinds of perspectives were there then. And so it was. So you know what? If Jesus could function in it and still treat every family member right, then Christ in us can do the same. My. So I challenge you, those that are in this hallowed place, I challenge you. Those that are on Facebook and Instagram, I challenge you to be big enough and Christian enough to embrace and bring back the person that you've excluded from your family based on your preference. Based on your preference. Because it's not right, number one. And number two, it's the right thing to do. Well, we're going to say amen, say it now. Because I'm down to the last part of my teaching. I see a day. I see a day. And it's in the book of Revelation. It's what John on the Isle of Patmos was saying for the cultural and the cosmic connection. He says, I see a number that no man can count. And it is a connected family of other individuals. It's a connected family of all races, of all nationalities, all ethnic groups. It is a number that nobody can count. I see a family. They have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb. I see a family. And I see them coming in such a number that I cannot count them. Does not that sound familiar? Adam could not count his descendants. Noah could not count his descendants. Abraham could not count the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. And John said, I see a number that no man can count. You know, the one connection that I think that is indicative of all families, it doesn't care what preference or anything like that, is that somewhere along the line, almost all family members look alike. I wish I just had some folks in the building. All family members, they kind of look alike. Either their eyes look alike, their nose look alike, their head look alike, their mouth look alike, their ear look alike, they talk alike, they walk alike, they have mannerism alike, they eat the like kind of food, they drive the like kind of car, they teach Hosea. They wear their hair alike, or they don't wear no hair alike. Reach Hosea high. But there are some distinctiveness that comes. Some families gray faster than others. Some family disposition wrinkle faster than others. They are alike. Now, the reason I say it that is because the same John the same John that saw this number that nobody could count tells us in 2 books earlier in John, 1 John, he says, beloved, we do not know what we shall look like. But when he appear, we'll all look like him. Oh, y'all just missed what I just said. So look, in the final end of this family, all of us gonna look just like each other. Gonna look just like each other. And since the church is the nucleus of the kingdom of heaven, And what we're doing down here is practicing what we're going to do in heaven. We ought at least start practicing accepting each other, even if you don't like what each other is doing. Because I heard my mama say, son, when it comes down to life, some folks you think going to be in heaven ain't going to be in heaven. And some folks you thought weren't going to go to heaven, they're going to be in heaven. That's what my mama told me. I believe what my mama said. And because of that, brothers and sisters, let's realize no matter what preference in the family there is in the family still can be the family. How? By love. By love. By love, we got to love each other. We got to love each other, y'all. We can't condemn each other. We can't put each other down. We got to love each other. We got to show the very ultimate fact of reality is that you are my sister. I love you. You are my brother. I love you. You are my aunt. You're my mom. You're my dad. I love you. We've got to display the essence of love because love hides a multitude of faults. Preach, Hosea. Teach Hosea. Love hides a multitude of faults. And I've come to the ultimate conclusion of this. I know that I, as a child, did some things that maybe my mom and dad didn't like. Me as a parent, my children have done some things that I didn't like. But that's still my baby. Preach, Hosea Hine. That's still my son. That's still my daughter. And I have a responsibility to keep on loving them. And I will protect them. Now you better believe this. I may talk about them, but I ain't going to let you talk about them. Teach Hosea. The preference of essence is there. It's not an atmosphere of condemnation. It's an atmosphere of charity. Charity will help our families, y'all. Love will help our families. So who shall save? And who shall liberate our family? I want to put it on your shoulders. I want to put it on your shoulders. You can save and liberate your families. First of all, you can save your family by inclusion, not exclusion. You can liberate your family by unincarcerating the person that you got something against just because they're doing what you don't think that they should do. You and I keep our family members in prison when we refuse to treat them like family based on what they're doing. Look, God treats us like family and He knows everything we doing. He knows our thoughts, He knows our action, He knows our behavior, but He still calls us His sons and His daughters. They that are led by the Spirit of God are the sons and daughters of God. We who are led by the Spirit of God know we sin. Teach, preach, Hosea. We that are led by the Spirit of God know we do something wrong. If God can accept us, we can accept family members that we may not condone what they're doing. Dude, Wes, I'm getting passionate about this. Because there's a lot of moms and dads, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You gave birth to that child. And you're going to turn your back on that child and deny that child the right to have a relationship with you simply because of something that they're doing? Teach, Hosea. Preach, Hosea. Just because they made a choice that was not your choice. My. I ain't meddling. I'm just saying what I'm saying, y'all. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Mama, you went through 9 months of gestation. You went through pregnancy. You fed that baby. You nurtured that baby. You put diapers on that baby. You fed that baby when that baby couldn't feed themselves. And now they've gotten a little older and they've made a choice you don't like. And now you resent them. Shame on you. Shame on you. You won't even answer that phone call. Shame on you. My. Somebody said, Pastor, show meddling today. I just want to make sure that God holds me accountable for what he has shown me and what he is showing me. I'll finish with this. And when God told me this, I had to sit down. It hit me that much. I had to sit down. You know what God said to me? There are a lot of parents, there are a lot of siblings, and a lot of family members who are rejecting somebody in their family who has made preferable choices. But they work with people like that every day and go out to lunch with people and do business with people and some of them, this is why I had to sit down, and some of them have friends. I'm finished, y'all. Y'all don't finish. This on my heart, y'all.